Hey guys, this is Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we're back with another episode of Recruit of the Week. Before we highlight this week's prospect, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for just $29.99 until August 31st of 2023. That gets you premium inside information on all things Michigan recruiting, the team, NIL, transfer portal, basketball recruiting, and so much more. And you get to be part of a great message board community over on the fort for just $29.99 until August 31st of 2023. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this week's Recruit of the Week, and that is Aaron Chiles, top 100 linebacker out of Only Good Counsel, a DMV powerhouse that also produced Michigan defensive lineman Chris Jenkins. Good Counsel plays against great competition throughout the region. I had a chance to see Chiles in the fall, and he is my favorite linebacker on Michigan's 2024 recruiting board. I also really like Chris Jones, who we highlighted last week, but Aaron Chiles is an absolute monster. That's why I call him the Maryland Monster. I mean, he's a guy that is an absolutely intimidating force in the middle of that Good Counsel defense, which has several other Division I prospects as well. Let's go ahead and talk about Chiles as a player before we get into his recruitment. So he's listed at 6'3", 220 pounds. His build actually reminds me, and his game reminds me a lot of Michigan linebacker Junior Colson, who obviously made an immediate impact in Ann Arbor as a true freshman. Aaron Chiles is that type of athlete. I expect him to continue to climb the rankings. He's ranked as the number 61 overall prospect in the country in the consensus, but just outside of the top 100 at number 113 on threes rankings. Again, I expect him to climb the on three rankings as the national guys get more looks at him. But I've actually had a chance to see Chiles in person on three separate occasions. The first was at the Ray Lewis camp in Ohio last offseason, and that was the point where I was like, okay, man, this guy's a beast. And I actually take that back. I've seen him 4 times. So the first time I saw him was when he didn't have a Michigan offer. And that was at the Under Armour camp in Baltimore just a couple of months prior. And I wrote that Michigan should offer him. A couple months later, Michigan did offer him, and had a chance to really hone in on him once he had the offer at that Ray Lewis camp. And that camp was a lot of coverage, a lot of one-on-ones against running backs. And he looked the part of a guy that was just comfortable in coverage and playing in space. And again, his build is great. He has a thick upper half and lower half. But what really stands out about Chiles, along with his ability in coverage, is his ability to get sideline to sideline. This guy is fast and covers a lot of ground. And that's something that you really need to have to excel in Jesse Minter's NFL-style defensive scheme. You need linebackers that can run, and Chiles can run. And not only does he run, he smacks people. He's extremely physical. He's long for an inside linebacker. Just a lot to love about his game, particularly when you look at him as a Michigan fit. He fits the defensive scheme better than any other linebacker on the board, in my opinion, which is why I value him so high. I think Aaron Chiles is a potential 5-star prospect. I, again, think he's going to accelerate up the rankings. He has all the talent in the world. He has the size, he has the speed, he has the athleticism. I do think he can come in, fill that Junior Colson role early on, and potentially be a starter as a freshman, just like Junior Colson was. He's the most impressive linebacker recruit that I've covered that has legitimate interest in Michigan since Colson. That's how high I am on Chiles as a recruit. So what about his actual recruitment? Where does Michigan stand? So Chiles, like I said, picked up an offer from Michigan during the spring evaluation period last year. He wanted to make a visit to Michigan in the offseason and then into the season, and it just never really panned out. But he is set to make his first ever trip to Ann Arbor January 28th, so about a week from now. He will get his first in-depth look at the program, get to meet with the staff face-to-face. He's already building a good relationship with linebackers coach George Hilo. I expect defensive coordinator Jesse Minter to get more and more involved with him as well, and obviously he'll have a chance to sit down with head coach Jim Harbaugh. But again, I think Michigan is right up there. That's a school that he's always liked, that he's always been interested in visiting. And now that he's making it happen, it further justifies that Michigan is going to be a major player here. Michigan has always had great linebacker production. That's something that's appealing to me. When I last saw Chiles, which was in-game in the fall, he told me that the relationships with the staff are getting better and that he's just really been impressed with what Michigan has been able to do on the field overall, as well as what it was able to do defensively. I believe I saw him in October, and he was really impressed with the job that Minter had done in his first year with the program. He does see himself as a scheme fit, like we talked about earlier, and he's just a great kid. I always enjoy catching up with Aaron Chiles. Not only is he my favorite, or one of my favorite guys on the defensive side of the ball as a pure player, he's also one of my favorite kids to talk to. My in-person interactions with him have been great, and so I think he fits the bill of a Michigan type of kid. Comes from a great program, so he's very well coached, really disciplined kid. And like I said, Michigan has had success recruiting good counsel in the past, landing Chris Jenkins a few cycles ago. And Chiles told me he has had conversations with Jenkins about the University of Michigan and the benefits of it. So I expect Chiles to get some time with Jenkins on his visit here in January as well. There are a lot of other suitors in this recruitment. The good thing is it's just getting going for Chiles. He's not a guy that made a lot of visits in the fall. I believe he only made 2 or 3 trips at most. When I had a chance to visit him in the fall, I think he had only made it to 1 game. So this isn't a guy that's just been all over the place with recruiting. He usually stays pretty low key when it comes to his recruitment, and it's just starting to pick up in terms of him actually making visits and really taking time to get an in-depth look at the process. So there are some other schools that are national schools that are very involved. Clemson, I know, made an impression on him early on. One of the practices I had a chance to see him at in the spring, he was rocking some Clemson gloves, so I expect Clemson to be a factor. He does have some offers from schools down south in the SEC. Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Florida have all extended offers. The Big Ten schools are very involved. Penn State is a program he's very familiar with. He has been out to Happy Valley in the past. Penn State in a great position as well. Maryland, the home state program, has also made a big impression on him early on. You have Ohio State that's been involved, not a Big Ten school, but another Midwest school. Notre Dame has been involved as well. So yeah, just a lot of options. You have more national programs like Oregon, Tennessee, USC, Texas A&M. I mean, Chiles has a long list of really impressive offers. So it'll be interesting to see who really stands out once he starts making all these visits in the offseason. But Michigan will have their chance to get going in the Aaron Chiles recruitment later this month. For more on Chiles and all other recruits visiting Michigan in January, make sure to stay plugged into the Wolverine.com today for just $29.99 until August 31st of this year. Like this video, helps with the algorithm, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is completely free.